Welcome, listeners, to the Lust for Life podcast. This is your host, Tennessee Reed. On this podcast, we talk all things emotional intelligence and just talk about the reflections of my week. And usually my husband is on this podcast with me and we just have the discussions together. But he is busy with school right now. He's in medical school. So it's just going to be me this week. And as much as I love having him on the podcast and we love having conversations, sometimes it's also good just to have self-reflection and have a little more reflection on my deeper emotional self. And that's kind of what I want today's podcast to be, because this last week was definitely a challenging one for me. Lots of highs, lots of lows. And it's interesting to me how each week really is so unique. We wake up each day and it seems like we're living Groundhog Day sometimes. It's all the same, and you look back on it a year later and everything's different. And it's kind of similar to weeks. Each week has its own little twists and you just have to work through them. This week was always overall a good week, but definitely had its challenges. It was Thanksgiving week. Jake's parents were in town and we had a fun time with them, just enjoying the holiday and exploring Chapel Hill and Durham and different areas and different places and restaurants. And we went to a football game and we just kind of had the Carolina experience with barbecue and all that. But this last week, I had a realization, and I guess I'll backpedal a little bit here, but I have struggled with intimacy in our marriage, and I think I've mentioned this in other podcasts, and it's been really, really hard for me. And a big thing that has to do with that is my anxiety sometimes makes it really hard for me to relax enough to be able to be in a spot to have intimacy. And that can be really hard, obviously, for a marriage, and it can really make it struggle in a lot of ways. And it's just been an ongoing learning for me. And this last week, I actually felt like super relaxed, and it was really, really nice, the beginning of the week. And I was having a realization that my periods each month were actually getting more regular and looking more like a period than before, because I do use an IUD and I have the Mirena because I do have undiagnosed endometriosis, meaning undiagnosed. The only way to diagnose this is surgery, and I really don't want to get surgery. So the management of that is putting you on a really, really high hormone IUD. And I told Jake, I was like, man, I'm feeling cramps significantly more each month, and my period is looking way more like a period each month. And I realized that my hormones from this IUD are kind of lowered because the IUD is not producing as many hormones as it used to. And I discussed this with one of the OBGYN nurses, and she said, yeah, that's totally a thing. I've had my IUD in for 5 years, and it does start to decrease the amount of hormones it releases. And because of that, a lot of people replace their IUD after 5 years. And even though you can wait till 7. And so I was like, wow, I actually do feel a really big difference in my mood. I'm a bit more relaxed. I'm not as much on edge as I do feel like I got used to the Mirena, but it was really, really hard at first. It's a lot of hormones, and it's kind of weird to think that hormones really do play such a big role in intimacy and just how you feel and how you act. And I know a lot of medical spas treat hormones, and at first I kind of was like, well, I don't know how much hormones actually do for you. I don't know if they really do change your metabolism, or they really do make you feel a certain way, but after this experience with my IUD, I'm like, wow, I actually really do believe that hormones play a very big role in your wellness. And I kind of want to look more into that, because I know a lot of medical spas, that's a big thing now, and it's pretty cool. So that happened this last week. And the symptoms of my cramps each month are tolerable right now. So I'm happy with keeping my IUD in and kind of rolling out with the hormone levels I'm at. because it's really, really painful to get those replaced. And to get used to a new IUD would take a really long time for me. So I'm just going to kind of roll it out, I think. But yeah, that was pretty cool to learn this last week. It also has been kind of a weird week too. And maybe this has to do with the hormones as well. But also I think in combination of not training for an Ironman is for the first time in my life, I have not really had like an appetite to eat, which is kind of weird. Like I'll eat when I'm starving, but if I'm not starving, I'm kind of like, meh, I don't know if I want to eat. And I don't feel the best because I'm not eating probably what I need to be. But that was something that also happened this week. And so I don't know, it's kind of weird. I've never had that problem in my entire life. Like I'd pack a lunch to work, and then oftentimes I just wouldn't eat it. Or I just don't eat breakfast because I just don't really feel like it. And it was just, I don't know why I'm sharing that, but it just was kind of weird. I think it's in combination of not training and then possibly my IUD. And so another reason to probably look into hormones, which is super, super interesting to me. And I really want to research more about it. But Thanksgiving helped with the appetite and everything. But it was just really, really interesting. It's kind of sad actually, because eating is such a fun part of your day. You get to enjoy meals with other people. It's kind of a relaxing part of the day. And so not to have that, I mean, it's a little, I don't know how I feel about it yet, but I hope I start to get it back a little bit more. But I'm just not super excited as I used to be, and maybe I just need to mix up my food a little bit. But yeah, that was another thing that happened last week. And then one of the big ones was I wasn't as emotionally stable as I know I can be. And there was a situation that came up this last week, and I totally reacted. And I hardly ever raise my voice, and I really try not to. And I raised my voice in this circumstance, and I was so ashamed. I totally reacted emotionally. And it kind of scared me because I was like, wow, I've put so much work to being demure, I guess you could say. But I've just put so much work into being like peaceful and open-minded and just relaxed to the point where I don't feel like I need to raise my voice. And I think a series of events, I was out of my schedule, I was out of my usual regime, and I just completely reacted out of emotion. And I did raise my voice this last week. And so I was really, really sad about that for a while. I was really ashamed of myself because I know I'm better than that. And so I guess I just need to show myself grace that and just know that I have improvements to be made, and I probably always will. And it's okay to make mistakes. Just apologize for it. Make sure that you recognize it and that you're humble enough to learn from it and move forward. And I really like how Sandra Bullock in one of her interviews said her mistakes are hers. Her imperfections is what makes Sandra Bullock Sandra Bullock. And she says that she just embraces that and just loves her for who she is. And she knows she's trying her best and she's not ashamed of that. And I really, really like that, because I think that we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to struggle. We're all going to do things we're not proud of. And that's just who we are, and it's just what defines us. And the most important thing is that we love ourselves and are humble enough to learn from it and move on. But that was a really hard one for me, and it's Monday right now, so it happened a few days ago, but I'm still just kind of feeling icky about it, and I'm still learning how to forgive myself about it. But it ultimately has affected a few days of my life, and so it's time to let it go and just time to move on. But yeah, it was not a fun situation, but I'm hoping I can just learn from it. And I like to be transparent on this podcast, and just show that I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. I'm trying my best every day. I'm trying to fill my head with good thoughts and read good books and surround myself with good people. And this morning I had the opportunity to be on one of my dear friends' podcasts, The Best of Yvonne. And just a dear, dear friend. She's been such a mentor for me. And it just reiterated to me today how blessed I am to have the people in my corner that I do have, and to have the friends that I do have. And I hope that I can be a friend to others in the same way that I have friends. I hope that I reciprocate that to others and that people feel my love, because I feel like in friendships I have a lot of love, but sometimes I'm hesitant to invest myself in other friendships, I guess you could say, because I put so much energy into it that I almost have the expectation that it's going to be reciprocated, because I just have such good friends and such good mentors that we just build each other up. And so I'm pretty protective of the energy that I give, but I'm just so blessed that I have those people in my corner and that I have the mentors that I do have. And I do want to say I finished the controversial Elon Musk book this week, and I had an open mind about it. I really did. I had an open mind, and the book was brutally honest, and it shows a lot that Elon Musk allowed that book to be published. And I know I talked a little bit about it last week, so I guess I finished it over a little week ago. But it's pretty cool that Elon Musk allowed some of those things to be published about him, and it shows that yes, he is, has his tempers and he has his moments, but he has to have a level of humility to have those things published and to show kind of his true colors. And I almost admire that, because he embraces who he is. Maybe not fully his past, because it sounds like he still has work to do to kind of, and he admits that in the book actually, but he has work to do to kind of embrace that. But he does embrace what he's done in regards to Tesla and Twitter and all those things. And he acknowledges that he makes mistakes, and he makes them a lot. And if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning and you're not improving. So why be afraid of failure like that? So that's kind of like the mindset that I want to take after this week. Is just, I have my imperfections. I do have a lot of anxiety that sometimes gets the best of me, but the bottom line is I'm still working hard and I'm still working through it, and I accept me for me. And that's a big reason why I do these podcasts, is because sharing my story and sharing my thoughts throughout the week is a way of me accepting who I am, because I'm willing to share it with others. Because keeping it to myself sometimes feels like I'm trying to hide it from others, and I don't like that feeling. I like to be able to share my experiences with others and hopefully validate if people feel the same way. But I know it's kind of short and sweet this week, but that was kind of my week, my reflections, and lots of blessings happened this week. Thanksgiving is always a time to reflect, and I hope this next week I can master my emotions. Clearly, I have some work to do, and I will keep you posted. And like I said in the last episodes, we publish these every Tuesday. And thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.